So this is gonna be a video that I think is very, very, very important to your life. And it's gonna be about how to live an amazing life. And maybe even more importantly, how to make sure that your life doesn't totally suck and pass you by. This is gonna be a very, very deep core philosophy that I really, really, truly believe in. And I'm actually shooting this right now at the end of an incredibly, incredibly grueling shoot here in Glacier, Montana. It's pretty dark out, beautiful lake behind us, and we're gonna be hiking back with, whether it's grizzly bears or whatever it is out here. At night, we do have bear spray, so, we're pretty confident. But anyway, yeah, end of a grueling shoot, and I just wanted to catch a quick one. And the videos we're shooting out here, they're gonna come out way into the future, but this I'm gonna put out like maybe even today. So in this video, what I'm gonna honestly ask you is your life passing you by? And that's an honest question, is your life passing you by? I mean, what does your life look like right now? Are you living the life that you want to live? And if not, why? Well, here's an epiphany that I had. What I see, okay, this is a lot of what I see. Most people who I'm friends with, they are stuck in a rut. And, that rut could look something like, you wake up, you take a shower, probably they watch the news, look at their phone, go to work or maybe work from home, and then maybe they have some kind of diversion at night, and then they go to sleep. And they've probably picked a place to live that, they can afford, but is a little bit tough to afford. They probably have a car that they can afford, but is a little bit tough to afford. And they probably have to work pretty hard, and they've got to stay on the hamster wheel. And so as a result of this, they have this vision for their lives that someday they're going to go do something super, super cool with their lives. And what would that be? Maybe it would be they'd finally start going out working on social skills. Or maybe it would be they'd finally go out and start traveling. Or maybe it'd be they'd finally pick up some cool skill that it is that they want to do, whatever it is, right? And they're always kind of kicking the can down the road to doing that in the future. But what you don't realize is that in truth, this stuff just never, ever happens. It just doesn't happen. It just never, ever happens. For most people, their life is just, they're basically just a battery in the matrix, and they just work, they work basically for the system to keep the system going. They'll probably never take any major stand about their beliefs. And if they're lucky, I guess the one thing that most people will do is that they'll at least have children, which I do think is very, very beautiful, an important part of life, and that's very, very cool. They'll probably do that. And then their kids will probably wind up being a battery for the system as well. So how do you stop that? What is the way that you prevent something like that from happening? Well, look, in my case, what I do is I don't, Tony Robbins talks about this. He says you make something a must or a should. A must or a should, right? And he says we should all over ourselves, like a classic thing. And I actually went and studied Tony Robbins when I was in my early 20s, and that actually helped me a lot. And so what I think that you have to do is you have to make going to things that are kind of like on your bucket list, you have to make it a must. And you have to do so in a manner that you're basically forced to adapt, okay, is the best way that I would put it to you, all right? So, a simple example of this would be, say that you want to learn social skills. Well, usually you learn social skills in a place where, maybe you go out in the evening, right? And people go out to public gatherings in the evenings, maybe bars and clubs. You want to learn how to talk to people, how to be an attractive person, how to meet people and really bring people into your life. And so to do that, it takes practice, it takes time. But let's say that you have to wake up most days at 7 or 8 a.m., right? Like a lot of you watching this, if you're watching this, statistically speaking, you probably do have to wake up at 7 or 8 a.m. So how do you make the time to do that? It's pretty crazy, right? It's like you're in a trap. When's this going to actually happen? I almost feel like the reason that I was able to make a lot of progress in this area and have a lot of my own transformation in this area of learning social skills was just because by me making it my full-time occupation, I was able to rearrange my life to be able to just sleep in. That was like 90% of why I was able to make progress, and then just by me being forced to teach it, I had no choice but to get good at it, right? I basically made it inevitable that I get good at it. And I could recognize it was such an important area of my life that I could just see that I was going to fall in a trap and not get good at it. And I was like, okay, well, what have I got to do? I even would do things like bringing mastermind groups around me, like just bringing on other instructors and coaches, just so that I'd always have people around me who are doing that kind of thing. And I would set up a twice-a-year summit. I'm actually getting excited to go to Summit. It's in about 2 weeks as of recording this. My whole team will be there. I'll be there. It's super exciting. Click the link below if you'd like to come party with us and hit it up. So, I'd create things like a summit so that I'd go see everybody, meet up with my whole team, and wind up going out with everybody at night so that I was forced to improve. I was like kind of nervous, because every summit, everybody's skills were getting better, and I wanted to make sure that I was up to snuff. and it's like maybe kind of a little touch competitive. And so I'd always want my skills to be progressing at the same rate or faster, ideally faster than everybody else who I'm working with, and so on and so forth, and to be an example, because everybody was getting good pretty quick because we're all working on it, right? So we basically had to make something where it was a must, not a should, right? I structured my life like that. Now, the main key here, and this is what I've kind of found, is like the first step to this is you've got to realize that like your life is just going to suck really, really bad. Okay, your life is going to suck so bad if you don't force the issue. You've got to just force the issue of living an amazing life. You have to. You have no choice. And from there, you've got to realize that like there's probably no better time in the future that you're ever going to actually be able to go and do all this cool stuff that you're thinking. It's not going to get any better. So here's what I found, a couple of tricks that I did. One of them, which is pretty messed up, and you could argue about, this is pretty dubious advice, but it worked for me, is I just went anyway. You know, I'm like, you know what? I'm just like that thing that I want to go do. I'm just going to go do it. And then I'm probably going to come back with my business in total tatters and with all these things backlogged and all these backlog problems and like not even like when I'm younger, not even able to make rent. And then I'm going to have to adapt. And what I found by doing that was I'd go on the trip and I'd come back and, you know, I'd come back to a freaking nightmare, right? Everything had piled up and I'd be behind on cash. And then what that would do is it would force me by force to have to make more money very, very quickly. I'd have to basically, let's say that I went somewhere for 2 weeks, maybe to another country or somewhere beautiful that I want to go. I'd come back and I'd have to learn how to make 2 weeks of, you know, a month's worth of money in 2 weeks. I just didn't have a choice. Another thing that I did that's pretty common was recently, for example, I was like, you know, I never go out in nature in the winter. I keep saying I'm going to go out in nature in the winter, and I just never do it. And what I did, and you'll think now, you know, I'm pretty advanced in my business, obviously. But what I went in, now I don't recommend you go this far, but you do your own version that makes sense to you. But I went out and bought enough winter gear that it would like sting slightly financially. So in my case, I went out and bought about $10,000 or $15,000 in winter gear. Okay, I bought every like Canada Goose and Montclair jacket that I could think of, winter boots, winter hats, you know, some ski gear, just everything. Right, and remember, now you're saying, why don't you just go buy, you know, $500 in winter gear? And by the way, that'd be a good number for a lot of people. I'm just a little bit further along in my business. Why do you need to spend $10,000 or $15,000? I did it because I wanted to see that stuff sitting on my shelf, and I wanted to feel like if I didn't go use it, that I'd feel like a complete idiot. Just like a total moron. Like there's no way that I could just, you know, see like this rack of winter jackets and winter gear sitting in my closet for a whole summer without using it. And so what wound up happening was, and I've been crazy busy this year, was I wound up doing this beautiful trip to Yellowstone National Park, a private oversnow vehicle, you know, out with the bison, like, you know, volcanic geysers. I mean, it was completely insane. I wound up doing a snow expedition, 2 of them, into Sequoia National Park, the biggest tree in the world called the General Sherman's there. I did a winter tour of Yosemite National Park. I think I did a couple other ones too, but that was, oh, yeah, that's what it was. I went skiing in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. It was beautiful. So I wound up doing all this winter stuff, and it was life-changing. It was the best thing I've done in like 15 years. Like, makes my life worth living, you know, makes it worth getting up in the morning. So I had a similar experience because I've been doing a lot of stuff in nature in the summer, but I haven't really been doing a lot of hikes. And so I feel like I kind of like, you know, I do these tours of nature in the summer, but I just don't wind up doing a lot of hikes. And I used to hike all the time. You might remember I used to hike at Nepali Coast and all this kind of cool stuff. So what I did was I went and I researched all the best hiking boots. And I spent like 8 or 12 hours, right? You know, just looking at like every possible hiking boots. The conclusion that I came to, it seemed like the Salomon, because I figure someone might ask, the Salomon Quest boot as like a big tall boot if you're lugging heavy gear, and then the Salomon Ultra Mid seemed to be the best hiking boots. And then also I like the Hoka One One hiking boots, and trail runners because they have a lot of padding, so really good for local hikes. Actually amazing for local hikes, like way better than the Salomon for like a local hike that's easy. They're just like trail runners, right? I got the Speed Goat or something like that. But anyway, so I just got every single boot, maybe $1,000 or $1,500 in boots, and just piles of boots. Again, why did I do this? See, you're here. See, here's the thing. You're probably hearing this and you're saying, why did you do that? And you know, I don't know what you've done personally, but you know, statistically, you probably don't go hiking, right? So you know, so it's like. Right? So you're going to sit there and you're going to be like, well, why'd you go buy all those jackets? Or why'd you go buy all this different stuff? But then at the same time, if you didn't actually go do that stuff, then your system didn't work, right? And is there like a bear over there?
I don't know.
Okay,
I heard something, sorry.
Okay, well, let me know because video is valuable, but not that valuable. Who's got the bear spray?
I do.
Okay. Just don't be afraid to lose the video. Okay, so we'll keep going, then we'll wrap this up. We'll wrap this up quick. Okay, so main point being is that what kind of sounds did you hear?
Just like banging on the wood and stuff.
Okay, well, let me know what you hear. Okay, we'll focus.
Yeah,
I'm not hearing anything now. Okay, so you see this main idea here, right? It's this idea that you just do whatever it takes. It's this idea of what's called throwing your hat over the fence. Okay, is really what it is. It's throwing your hat over the fence. Like for example, I wanted to get back to public speaking this year, right? And I could feel that after it was 15 months off public speaking because of lockdown. We rebuilt our business with online mentoring, which has been amazing for us. We built this incredible mentoring program, and I realized that literally it's easier for our business to make money, to build revenue for our company, doing online mentoring because, frankly, somebody from India, somebody from Russia, somebody from Japan could do mentoring with us, right? And we don't have to go rent a venue. We don't have to fly people there. We don't have to bring all this camera gear. I mean, it's logistically way easier, right? To put on a huge event, it's a couple $100,000. So coming from that standpoint, I could feel myself just being like, well, I like the life that I built. My house, I've got a beautiful crib and we've got a full gym in there and a sauna and cold plunge, a movie theater, a barbecue. It's you can do parties. It's amazing, right? So it's what do I need to go running around dropping a couple $100K to do some seminar for? Like putting out those expenses in advance and doing all the budgets and doing all the prep time. And then I'm like, no, we're doing this, right? And I called my team and they said, well, look, if nobody shows up for this, we're going to take a couple $100,000 hit off this. And I said, well, you know what? Then let's take a couple $100,000 hit. And here's why. Oh, and here's what was funny about it was it was right when lockdown came off, right? And I'm like, I want us to be the first ones to go back to doing seminars as soon as lockdown comes down. So I tell them, I go, look, just put it on the schedule. We'll put it a month out. We'll probably lose a bunch of money on it. Which is not very fun, taking a huge hit of $100K, $200K. I think we were probably looking at about $150K hit. And then I'm like, well, let's just go do it. We'll just go do it. We'll take the hit. And then you know what that'll do? That'll force us to feel the frustration of that. And then we'll go put on another seminar and we'll do way, way better. Well, you know what? It actually worked out well for us. We didn't take a hit off it. It was actually super duper successful for us. A lot more people came out than I thought. I didn't think there'd be a big demand for it. I thought everybody's going to just want to sit in their house and, they're scared to come and stuff like that. So I was like, it's not going to work out. But apparently we've got a pretty courageous audience. We had a lot of people come out. It was a huge crowd, beautiful. And we did something that we've never done before. We actually broadcasted it live. We flew down all this broadcasting gear. Although funny side point about that, we later realized that you can actually, with a little audio adapter, you can actually do a pretty awesome broadcast off an iPhone. And you might have noticed that we've actually been broadcasting just off a gimbal and an iPhone with a little audio adapter. And it's it probably looks 70, 80% as good. We brought all this gear, mountains of gear that we had to ship down and run this whole complicated crazy setup. But anyway, we had our hearts in the right place, right? And it is better with all that gear too. So anyway, so we went and did that. We broadcast it live. I wanted to do that. Just we're probably never going to broadcast another summit live, or if we did, probably be a paid thing or something. But we broadcast it live on YouTube because we just thought, well, you know what? It'll put out there to people. So we threw our hat over the fence. We wound up making a really successful event for ourselves, but we thought we'd lose money and we didn't care. Because at the end of the day, here's the consequence of what would have happened. Okay? Here's what I think would have happened. I believe that would have honestly happened if we didn't do that event was we would have kicked the can down the road and kicked the can down the road and kicked the can down the road. And we'd be 4 years out and we're still not doing seminars. And let me tell you something. The core of what it is that we do is largely in seminars because that's where the problem is the rut of day-to-day life, okay? The rut of day-to-day life is so grinding, okay? It will grind you down so hard. It is so hard to escape. It's like basically you have this kind of gravity, and then you need kind of I'm looking over there. It's like gravity, and then it's like you have these giant rockets where it's something like 80, 90% of the fuel is used to get out of orbit, but then or to use to get out of the gravity of the Earth. But then once you're out, then you can just shoot around because you're in space and it's super duper easy. It's that gravitational pull of just day-to-day life, just grinding you down, grinding you down, grinding you down, grinding you down. And you can't break out of it. See, this is what you don't get. It's would versus could. Could I, in theory, go start doing summits again? Which, again, I've got one coming up in 2 weeks. Okay, link in the bio. I want to see you there. Let's go party together. This one's going to be in Austin. Let's go smash it. Let's go crush it together. Let's go tear it up, okay? If you want to be there. But, could we go do it? Yeah. But would we? When I'm doing better than ever, doing online mentoring, when we're comfortable and where we're at, when you've got to outlay a couple hundred G's in our case? No, it's not going to happen. It's like, it's the same thing with that winter thing. Like every single year, I'm like, I'm going to go do winter stuff again. I love the snow. I love being in winter. I grew up in Canada. And it just doesn't happen. It's like I've been saying that I'm going to go back and start skiing again now for how long? It's 15 years since I went last and I was in Aspen with the crew. And before that, it was like 20 years. 2 decades gets away from you. 2 decades just gets away from you. And, you know, you just keep thinking you're going to do it later and it doesn't happen. You know, hiking. I used to be lean, ripped. I was hiking all the time. I loved it. Every day I was hiking. And then I just got overwhelmed with business, not hiking. So you know what I did? I literally just went. I bought every pair of hiking boots online that I could find that are cool. And I'm like, I'm going to go hiking. And now look, I'm sitting out here about to get eaten by a bear. That didn't have a happy ending, did it? Okay, so, you know, you see the point, right? It's like, you see the point, right? It's like I've been doing amazing hikes. I've been hiking some of the most beautiful places in the world. And I've been doing that ever since I just, you know, so what, for $1,000 or whatever it was, you know, $1,500, whatever it was. I just went and had some of the most amazing life experience of my life, okay? So I broke the pattern by doing this thing called throwing your hat over the fence. Like if you hear about Summit is amazing. Do you want to be there at Summit in 2 weeks? Throw your hat over the fence. Click the link below. Sign up right now. It's incredibly inexpensive. Long, amazing event. Whole crew's gonna be there. I'll be there the entire time. We'll be partying together at night. Think of what that would be like, right? Whether it's Austin coming up or whether that's whatever other city we're doing that in the future. You could go do that right now. I would dare you to throw your hat over the fence and come join me at Summit. And literally, I mean, and it doesn't feel real, does it? Like you're watching this online, and in the same way that me being out here in Glacier, like the most beautiful place, maybe in the world, arguably, going to Sun Road, it's mind-popping. I'm going to try to put some B-roll in this video. Mind-popping, okay? I'm sitting out here. It's like 1 minute, I'm just sitting at home on my couch, just another boring day, watch the news, get up, go to work, just this boring, uninspiring day. It's a better way to put it, look, maybe it's even a good day, but it's a forgettable day. It becomes a blur. My view is that our mission in life is to make as many days a non-blur as possible. Okay, how can we, like, that was my mission this year. I'm like, you know what? If they're going to do this, I'm going to make as many non-blur days as I can, right? This is why I enjoyed going out to bars and clubs for many years, because I meet somebody special that night. I never forget them because they're so epic and have this epic night. I push through my fear, and I always try to go to the coolest new clubs, different clubs all over the world, meet new people, not just get in the same boring, complacent relationship that is I'm just not getting anything out of. I'd rather just go grind it out, elbows in the mud, and then have relationships at times as well, which I love, but have those relationships where I'm learning and growing within them, and they're actually exciting. But I'm not just going to sit there in complacency. Not going to happen. I don't want another day with my significant other that I can't even remember. It's just a blur, okay? Although I do believe there's two sides of this. You can build a relationship that actually has continued growth, but you see my point, right? So like, let's take Summit as an example. You could do yet another day where you sit there and look, for the 99% of people that won't come to this, look at us at Summit in my Instagram story. Look at the amazing fun that we're having and ask yourself, was it worth it not to just shoot down? What did you really do? What did you truly, really do during that time that was better than coming to party with us as a bucket list item, learning, growing? Do you know how crazy that environment, even that seminar room is? The kind of networking that you're doing there, the kind of people that you're meeting, the kind of cutting edge information that you're getting, it's completely life-changing. It's like taking some psychedelic drug trip being at Summit. It's insane. So for the 99% of people that don't come, go and look at it and ask yourself, was it worth it? But for that 1% of people, if you're that unusual person who's a little bit more unconventional, and you say, you know what, I've had enough. I'm sick of this. No more. I'm just sick of this. I don't want to just do the same day over again and again, these forgettable days. And you want to have the time of your life. I double dog dare you to click the link below. Come and link up with me. Let's do it. Let's have an amazing summit. It's incredibly inexpensive. You know, when you see what it costs, you're like, wow, you talked about it this much for this. I do it out of love and passion. I want to see you there. Okay? Let's think up. Let's go party. Let's hit the streets. Let's learn. Let's have epiphanies. Let's go on that sober psychedelic odyssey. Let's blow your mind. Okay? Just like being out here in Glacier. having the time of your life, saying, you know what, I'm going to break out of that complacency of doing the same thing every day. I'm going to throw my hat over the fence. I'm going to break the pattern. You just do whatever it takes. It's called a pattern interrupt. And you push yourself. Remember what I said when I said, you know what? I just said, you know, I'm going to go on the trip and I'll come back and I'll figure out how to solve it later. And I did that for everything. Everything. And you know what it did? It made me adapt. Look, I'll tell you another crazy story. And this should make you realize how doable this is. At one point we said, we're going to rent an $80,000 a month house and do parties and compete with Hugh Hefner to do the best parties in LA. And we did that. And you know what? I had to figure out pretty quickly how to get the business on a point to handle that. But guess what happened? Then I learned how to do that. And then once I knew how to do that, it's a lifelong skill that I have. So that's the thing, right? You've got to throw your hat over the fence to force that adaptation. And if you do it, your life will change. So that's the main message that I want to leave you with. First of all, like I said, I want to see you at the summit. Click the link below, okay? It's going to be super duper epic. I'm going to see you there. This is your moment. This is that big moment, okay? This exact moment, if you take me up on this, could literally be the biggest moment of transition in your life. Because you just click that, you don't even need to think. You just click that one button, and now you're stuck in it, and meet me there, and let me take you by the hand and walk you past the smoking wreckage and take you to the promised land, okay? Let me just walk you past all the crap of people that failed, and let's go to the top together. Just one quick click, and it's done, okay? Because Summit is insane, okay? Just everybody's there, everybody's going out, tons of training, super epic, super crazy. Every one of them's totally different. It's going to be amazing, okay? So that's one main point. But in addition to that, as a life point in general, ask yourself right now, do a real audit. Are you ever going to change? Is this ever going to change? Is this ever going to get any better? When's that time that is coming? When is it going to happen? Okay? I moved my personal trainer to my crib. Okay? I did that, throw my hat over the fence, okay? I did this because I blew my shoulder out, and I haven't been able to train yet. It's like just about to heal now. I'm finally going to get to train. I moved him in even early. Okay, so I met this guy in Venice Beach, and I'm like, you're moving. I have tons of rooms in my house. I'm like, just move into one of them for free, and you can train me in my gym. I've been obviously out of shape, right? I'm going to start training. So I put a gym in my crib. I put a trainer there, and I'm about to start training again. Probably starting after Summit. My shoulder's probably about 85% healed. I blew the crap out of it last year. What happened was I injured myself when I was training, and I'm like, I'll train through it. I'm not going to stop, and then I just annihilated. But anyway, look, here's the point. I moved him in. I'd actually invited him on a bunch of these trips that I've been doing. He's actually come on quite a few of them. But what I said to him was, he said to me, he said, Owen, like, I just have to get my business a little bit more together, then I can come on the trips. I said, okay, look, I said, if you don't come, fine. But what I want you to do is observe how in 3 months, nothing's really changed. Because at the end of the day, we're always kind of just like escalating our lifestyle a little bit, escalating our expense a little bit to where it's hard to go do these things. So what happened was after a couple months, he's like, yeah, you're right. Nothing did change. I'm like, look, why don't you just come and then, come with us? I think he came with us to Yellowstone that time. And I said, and when you come back, you're just going to be forced to figure out how to make more cash. He came, he had the Yellowstone experience. He went home. It was admittedly stressful. I'm not going to lie to you and say it wasn't stressful, but it was a healthy stress because he had to learn how to make, a month's worth of money in 2 weeks. And he went and he did it. And then what happened? Now he permanently knows how to do that. That's the point that I'm making. Like, of course, have some kind of backup plan there. Could move back in with your parents if you totally fail. But I don't think you will. Okay, if you're watching heady, dense videos like this, I just create I'll tell you a funny story about TikTok in a minute to wrap up. But anyway, not the kind of stuff on TikTok. You're watching heady stuff like this. You're an intelligent person, and you can do this, okay? I'll wrap with a story about TikTok, which is also another throw your hat over the fence moment. Then we'll wrap the video, and then we're going to hike back and hope nothing murders us. Okay, but if you're seeing this video, it means we made it. So even with TikTok, this week we had a funny experience. I see this, I keep getting all these DMs. And everybody's like, oh, you're really hard on that one student. I'm like, who, which student? So, I finally asked, could you send a link? Apparently someone, I don't know if it's a fan, someone doesn't like us, but whatever it was, it helped us. So thank you for doing it, for watching this. And somebody made a video of me that did 2 million views on TikTok. And it did this because it was showing like this highly out of context clip of me, giving this like really harsh breakdown to a student, and without showing the transformation, right? So I see it, I'm like, how is this fair? I'm like, it just looks like I'm berating this guy, and it doesn't show the transformation. I work with him for 50 hours, and it's just picking like this one moment of critical feedback. So my first instinct, I'm like, oh, it's a fake account. We have to remove it. It's fake. And then I said, wait a minute. And it's the exact same thing. I said, wait, no, I'm not removing the account. I've been saying I'm going to get on TikTok for how long? And just like everything else, I just never get on TikTok. So I said, you know what we're going to do? If this video of me looking like a complete moron, well, to be fair, I always look like a bit of a moron, but even more like a moron than average, just did 2 million views. Well, then you know what? I'll make my own TikTok. I'll call it Owen Cook Self-Help. Go to the TikTok and sign up, Owen Cook Self-Help, and then we're going to dig through my clips and find clips where I also look equally dumb as in this clip, and then we're just going to post them. Rather than me like feeling bad that I look stupid, I'm just going to post them. So we went in and we started posting these clips, and it's just like nothing but like pure people like you suck, da-da. But guess what? For all the people who see that, there's like 1% of people who get it. And I think that TikTok already has, maybe 4,000 followers at this point, right? Which is a great start. Now, why did I do that? Because I knew that if I just, the account was like a fake, you're not supposed to have accounts of people impersonating you. Like the account's called Official Owen Cook. It's basically an impersonation account. You're not really supposed to have that because then they could go post something crazy, right? But, so you're supposed to take those down. It's very simple to do that. But I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I mean, that's, if I ever had to, I guess I would. I'm like, for the time being, I'm not going to do that because I just keep saying I'm going to go on TikTok and I never do it. And I'm like, why don't I just do the same format that he did where I just have these like totally out of context clips of me just yelling at somebody. And then every so often I'll put the transformation as well. Okay. So then, and it's weird on TikTok. It's like, I can post the beautiful transformation. That'll do like 2,000 views, 5,000 views. But if I just post me going crazy, like I found this one clip where I'm just like, never be beta. Never be beta. And it's like this, like, I like to be like dramatic. I like to be theatrical. Like even in this video, I've probably done it, but it's just me like, never be beta. Unless you're in jail. Like it's just going crazy. So we cut that. And of course, because it's like some like kind of chubby moron, like this chubby balding guy, like yelling never to be beta when most people's concept of alpha male is like some jack 6 foot tall stud. I think that one did like 125,000 views so far. It'll probably do way more. So that got the TikTok going. So again, I realized, I'm like, I keep saying I'm going to do TikTok, and it just never, ever, ever happens. I just never do it. Why? I don't know. I'm trying to catch up on Instagram, YouTube. I'm traveling the country this year shooting all these crazy vids, trying to set up Summit, all this stuff. I just never did it. And it's not like I'm not a hardworking person, but we're all in our gravitational orbit of this sort of wood versus good thing. Could I have done TikTok? Sure. But would I? I just didn't do it. And it's funny. This is a weird philosophical question. It's like would versus could. Like, could you go to the Grand Canyon? In theory, you could. But would you? It's the would versus could. And if you wouldn't, then follow me here. Okay, follow me. If you wouldn't, you could make a theoretical philosophical argument that you actually physically can. That's a weird one to land. Like, what if I told you right now, you physically cannot go to the Grand Canyon? You're like, yeah, I could. Yeah, but you won't. So what does it matter that you in theory could? You wouldn't. I in theory could have made the TikTok. But it took that kind of shock event of the fake account for me to actually say, okay, I'll do it. I'll even like do a crazy version like him and get trolled. I'll probably be on like roast channels. I think I'm already on one. I have no doubt that some huge roast channels are going to pick this up because it's like, I'm literally like a cringe meme at this point. I'm like a full on cringe meme and done deliberately, right? By the way, for every person, side tangent, for every person who's afraid to go like get rejected at a club, how many people do you know who would deliberately sit there picking out clips that would make themselves look like a complete moron in front of millions of people? And I did that. Just to get like a paltry, like I did that for like 4,000 TikTok followers. I'm like a pretty low price. So, but that shows you how little I care and how much, how much I realize that to live a great life, it doesn't matter what people say about you. And as long as you're getting your name out there, even if people say horrible stuff, it doesn't matter because some people are going to like you and they're going to do business with you, right? And that's another key lesson. And by the way, if you come to World Summit and we go hit the clubs together, we go party on the streets together, that's another thing I'm really good to impart to you and try to show you that because at the end of the day, if you want to make a truly great life, you can't care that some people may not like you. Just be polite and respectful to them, but you've got to put yourself out there for some people who will love you, okay? So that's another kind of little lesson there as well, okay? But anyway, final point. Like I said, I want to see you at World Summit. Click the link below. This is your big moment to internalize right now what I said. Test to see if you internalize this. Click the link below. I'll see you there. Make it happen. And number 2, would versus could. Just because you in theory could do something, if you wouldn't do it, then you can't. Realize that. Number 3, the gravity. Break that gravity, okay? Break the gravity. Audit and realize how hard it will be for you to actually live your dreams. Then from there, what I say is do a full audit of what kind of dream life you want to live. Write down your bucket list items. Write down the things you want to do. And then come hell or high water, like Tony Robbins said, it's a must or a should. Stop shooting all over yourself, as he says. Make it a must to go live the life of your dreams. And in doing so, look, let me tell you about my year. I'll wrap with this, okay? This year, I went to Grand Canyon National Park, Vegas a couple times. There's so many I can't even remember. I went to Yosemite National Park in winter, Sequoia in winter twice. I did Zion, which is stunning. Go look this stuff up. It's insane. Bryce Canyon, Arches National Park. I went skiing. I went all through Yellowstone, multiple parts of Yellowstone. I went to Salt Lake. I went to Valley of Fire. I did, and this is all within a year. I did Glacier National Park here. I went to Hawaii. I did a bunch of islands in Hawaii. Hiked up giant waterfalls in Hawaii. I mean, this is all in less than a year. Built a giant gym in my crib. Rebuilt my business from the COVID crisis to be even bigger than before. I learned mountains about business and sales and marketing this year, more than I ever thought that I would. Read a ton of books. Met up with different celebrities who I wanted to meet up with. Had a great, we'll call it intimate life. Has been amazing. Spent time with my children. Flowed my children out to places like this. And I mean, like, I've learned a ton about business all in the while. You know, it had ups and downs. I mean, we had some hard times this year too. But I'm just making the point, like, and I'm scratching the surface here. And we did World Summit and partied in Miami. I went to Savannah, Georgia, St. Augustine, which is amazing, partied in New Orleans. I mean, this is just a year. This is like the last 10 or 11 months, right? And you think that's easy? You know, you think I'm like some rich guy that just sits there like laying back in his business, being complacent? Do you understand how much management of the business goes on during something like COVID when we're a seminars company with the word social in the name? I mean, stop and think about that. Using, social interactions in a world of social distancing and lockdown, what it was like to run the business. I had to be better than ever in order to do that. But you know what? I locked in. I found a way. Just like, look, I mean, you saw me at the start of this video. I'm like passing out here, right? And I'm like, well, just turn the camera on. I mean, this is definitely one of my Let's Go Issa videos, but I'm just like, look, just turn the camera on. I'm just going to start talking. It is what it is. We turn the camera on. It's like throwing the hat over the fence. I'll have to wake up. You see what's going on here? Do you see the pattern? Okay. So it's a simple video. It's probably my lowest production value video I've shot all year. We're shooting these super high production value videos that'll be coming out in 2022. But it's just a quick one. I just want to get out now. Okay. Do it partly to get awareness of Summit coming up. Just click the link. See it Summit. But in addition to that, this is one of the most important concepts of your entire life. And I hope you enjoyed it. Anyway, if you're seeing this, it means that we made it back. We're going to go do a pretty crazy hike. If we don't make it back, somebody please, find this and release it as my last ever video. Terrence, my editor, please make sure that the backlog gets edited. But I believe that we're in good shape. We've got some good bear spray. And we're going to make a pretty hardcore gangster hike back in the dark for the next little bit. Threw that hat over the fence. See you soon. Peace.